Hi, welcome to NDE TV. I'm Peggy Robinson. Today's guest is Victor Hicks, and he's going to tell us about his near-death experience, which is what the audience wants to hear.
All right. Thank you, Peggy. Actually, I have two NDEs, and well, I introduce myself first. I'm Victor Hicks. I'm a deputy sheriff. I've been a deputy sheriff for this is like the 23rd, 24th year, something like that. And I'm also an ordained minister. I didn't. It's not like God called me to be a minister or anything, but when I was young, I figured I'd try to look for stuff myself. I was searching for God, and so I went and studied with a couple of schools and online and got my ordination and stuff like that. But I'm not a preacher or anything, but I used to. But I'll get to my stories. Okay, my first NDE happened when I was 20 years old. I don't know if you can see, I have a scar here. And I had a chronically infected gland, and I was going to have surgery to get it taken out at KU Medical Center here in Kansas City, and they were telling me that it would be routine surgery, and that it would be okay. I didn't have any reason to doubt that. My doctor was competent. He was a really good guy. And so I went and had the surgery. I was 20 years old. And after the surgery, they had me in the hospital room, and they put me on an IV. And as soon as they put it in, my chest started hurting. And so I was telling the nurse, I said, hey, this is making my chest hurt. So she came in and checked me, and she said, sometimes the stuff inside of the bag is cold, and so when it goes into your veins, it will kind of hurt. It should be okay. And I said, okay. So, and I'm sitting there, and it would hurt really bad, and then it'll go away. So I'm laying there, I'm watching TV, and later on it hurt off and on through the day. This was maybe noon when I got out of surgery. And so off and on during the day, I was pushed the button again. It was hurting so bad. And then that night, it was like 10:40 at night. I'll never forget it. I was watching Nightline with Ted Koppel. I always watched that because I thought I was going to be a political genius watching that stuff. And so I was watching Nightline with Ted Koppel, and all of a sudden, man, I had a pain so hard that so bad that it's like an elephant sat on my chest, and I was gone. I was up over my body, and I can see my body on the bed, and the blue lights from I could see the blue rays from the TV on my body in the bed, and I could still hear Ted Koppel talking. And I thought, am I dreaming? But I knew I wasn't dreaming, because all of a sudden I knew everything. I knew what Ted Koppel was thinking. And so, and I said, okay, am I dead? And so I said, God, help me. And so I was back into my body, and I pushed the button, and my doctor came in, and he usually wasn't there that time of night. His name was Dr. Hignite. And he said, hey, Victor, what's going on? And I was telling him, I said, hey, I think I died or something, man. I just had like a heart attack or something. I was out of my body. And he said, he said, and I told him my chest has been hurting all during the day. And he said, did you tell the nurses? I said, yes. And they were telling me that, it's okay and it was normal and stuff, but I just left here, man. And he said, man, so he screamed at us, get in there and get this IV out of him, and then he came back in after they took the IV out to talk to me, because he believed me. He said, hey, he had heard about these things, and he wanted to hear but I was freaked out, I'm like, I didn't know. I was like, man, I was freaked out. But I told him, and that kind of changed my life, because all I was thinking about was foolishness up until that time. But I knew that, I'm going to back up a little bit. I was raised in church, and we went to church as much as we could. And when I got 16, I was started thinking, hey, man, this is a bunch of foolishness. They're doing this to make me act right or something. I don't know what the deal is, but I think there's a bunch of foolishness, and it's not serious enough, because I would see people in the church misbehaving and stuff like that. So I said, well, I'm gonna be serious. I'm gonna have a more serious religion. I'm gonna be a Muslim. So from the time I was 16 till the time I was 20 there, I didn't eat any pork or anything like that. I didn't go to the, didn't get all the way down. I was gonna change my name to Amir, but funny thing happened on the way to the mosque. When when I came back, when I asked God to bring me back, I knew who it was. I knew that was the God that I knew from the Bible, and he brought me back, and I never thought about that again. And they were asking me, what can I bring? Is there anything I can bring you? I said, yeah, some bacon. You hear me? I wanted some bacon. I had any bacon in like 4 years. Give me some bacon, buddy. And this is foolishness here. And so I started believing, again. And so from the time I was 20, I was 25 years old, I got married and had 3 children. And then I went through a divorce with that mom, and I married again, and I was going through another divorce, and anyway, things spiraled. So my second NDE, I'm gonna go back because I had an out-of-body experience too before that. Do you want me to do that first? Maybe I should do that first, because I was maybe, I don't know, was I? I was probably 23, 24 years old. I was in Orlando, Florida, living down there with my sister, and I had a part-time job at night at Pizza Hut. And one night we got robbed, and it was a real stressful experience, man. They were shooting guns and everything. And when I got home that night, I prayed. I asked God, hey, God, you have all power, and I thank you that we got out of there safely tonight. But there are a lot of people around the world who were robbed and raped and everything who didn't get out. And I asked God, I said, do you care? And when I asked God that, when I said the word care, I was up over the earth. That's why I don't believe in the flat earth stuff. I could see the earth spinning. I could see the earth spinning around real fast. And I could see images coming out. And it was like, one was like a child starving or something like, and I had a hurt and a pain in me. It's like there's no words to describe it. The hurt that I felt. A human can't do it. A human can't feel
oh my
it.
gosh.
And
you were showing what God feels, weren't you?
Yes, exactly. And it was a woman being tortured. And then I saw another scene, and I felt it every time. It was so bad. And God said, that's how I feel it. And he said, don't ever ask me, do I care again? And I was back.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So that was my out-of-body experience. And after that, during that experience, I think I was an empath then, before that, but I was really one after that. But I didn't understand. I didn't know for 30 years later what an empath was. I just thought I was crazy, I get around people. That's why your program and others are so important, to understand things like this, because I became an empath that I didn't understand what an empath was.
Well, I was going to ask you, when you finish, well, I'll go ahead and jump in here. Your 20-year-old NDE, when you felt what the news guy was talking, you felt his thoughts. I wondered then, were you an empath after that? Because it's my experience, whatever we experience on the other side, that extra sense, telepathic, that we bring it back, and I wouldn't be surprised. That's just my feeling. I don't
Yeah,
want to project my stuff on you, but
it may have, but I didn't understand it then. I did not understand.
Right.
And
It's
when
hard to
people
understand, isn't it? We don't know
when
we
people,
have these gifts until we have them, until we use them.
right, and people would get around me and they are sad, man. I start crying. I had to get out of the room. They're like, "What's the matter with you?" I didn't know. I thought I was crazy. And but anyway, I became an empath after that, but I didn't understand it. So fast forward to April 27th, 2010, and I was going through a lot of stuff. I just gone through a divorce. My mom had just died. We were having a dispute with my family over the house and all kind of stuff. And my blood pressure was so high. I was a captain at the job I was on in my profession. And there was a lot of stress with that too. The place we had like 1,500 inmates. So, and would run a whole shift with that. And so I was, with my blood pressure so high, I was getting these migraines, and it would ring in my ears. And man, I would really was wanting to shoot myself in the head. I couldn't get rid of it. I had all these bills, I had debt piling up. I said, "Oh my God." So make a long story short, one day I took a bottle of pills, like 500 Benadryl. I took them. And before I took them, I
500 Benadryl. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was gonna shoot myself, but I heard God say, "Don't shoot yourself. You don't want your son to find you like this." And I had my son had been living with me. I was living in Leavenworth, Kansas at the time, and he had run away. He wanted to live with his friends, and I hadn't seen him in like a month. So I was like, "Yeah, well, maybe, But as soon as I took those pills, my son walked in the door. "Daddy, what's going on?" And I don't know, son. I didn't tell him what I had done, but I was really, really thirsty. And I was saying, "Give me some water," and I couldn't drink it, And he called 911 and got me taken to the hospital. And on the way to the hospital, I was gone. I was in the ambulance, and I was gone. I could see the guy in there, and he was yanking on my arm, and the thing, and I was gone. And next thing I know, it was maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. I was in St. Luke's Hospital in Kansas City, Missouri, and so my ex-wife standing over me. I was like, "Okay, this didn't go too well. I must be in hell here." But it was my son and the doctor, and the doctor say, "Hey, well, he's back. Look like you're back. You okay?" Yeah. And they asked me, "What did you take?" I didn't tell them. I said, I was upset that I was still here. Like, whatever. So anyway, they sent me home, and I didn't remember anything. I just felt like I had been hollowed out and refilled. And so I was still very sleepy. I was so sleepy, I couldn't have known anything anyway. And my daughter brought me home, took me home. And I woke up the next day, I remember what happened. I had, this is my NDE. First thing I saw was a light. I would say the light. And it was like the classic, like everybody says, it was brighter than 10,000 suns, but it didn't hurt my eyes. It was like the first flash of kind of like a nuclear bomb. It's like beautiful, and but it was love at the same time. And it, so much light and so much love. There's no human words can possibly describe it. And he said, "I have no condemnation for you." And I was thinking, those are, I know what it means, but those weren't in my vernacular. So I was like, and I never thought that, that might be the root of my problem because I'd been kind of depressed all my life. It was kind of a cloud over my life. But he said, I have no condemnation for you, and he know that I was thinking that I might go to hell, for killing myself. And he said, I have no condemnation for you. And then he said, your life is not yours to take. And I was thinking like, well, whosoever it is, why don't you go ahead and take it, because I'm tired of it. And he said, first he took me. It's kind of like, I'm saying this in like this linear, but it was all like at the same time. He put me inside of this light. Like I was in a swimming pool, kind of like underwater, but inside of the water, you and the water are separate, even though you're under the water. But I became one with this light and love. And then next thing I know, I was kind of standing there, and the light turned into real thick like buttermilk and started in my head and went all the way down when it got to my feet. I woke up. I was in the St. Luke's hospital with my ex-wife standing there and and the doctor. And God said, he said, you let people know. That's why I emailed you. He said, you let people know that I'm a loving father, that I'm being misrepresented. He said, that's what God told me. He said,
It
I'm
certainly
being
is.
misrepresented. Yes. He said that I love you. I'm doing everything I can to get you in, not trying to see any thing that you're doing to exclude you. He said he's doing everything he can to put you in it. And I found out he's real. He's very real, and he's loving. Whoever's out there that might hear this, God loves you. He's not condemning you. We condemn ourselves. And I had been condemning myself, So that's part of my story.
That's beautiful. I appreciate you sharing that.
All right. All right. And well, you got any questions? I had another thing I had a dream. It was in April of 2020. Do you want to hear that?
Sure.
Okay. It was April, I'm not sure the exact date, but it was April of 2020 during this COVID thing. And I was sleepy. I'd gotten home from work. And so I was saying a prayer while I was laying down. And then I said that, and I don't know where I got this from. And I prayed that we're seated with Christ in heavenly places. And when I said that, I was on a street.
What did you say?
I said, when I said we're seated with Christ in heavenly places, I was praying. And then when I said that, all of a sudden I was on the street. And it was kind of like a street. And it went up a hill. And then there was a man coming down the hill, but I couldn't see his face. It was light. And he had on a robe, and he came down, he was walking down the hill to me. And he reached out his hand, he had a hole in his hand. And he grabbed my hand. And when he grabbed my hand, I was like a little child. And he took my hand and he took my left hand, and we were walking up the hill. And he showed me the first person I saw was my father, who had already passed. And my father, I couldn't talk to the people. And they weren't really talking to me with words. They were like telepathy. Yes. And my father, he smiled and he said, you're surprised to see me here, aren't you? and I didn't really know, I didn't know what my father believed. He was kind of a quiet person, and he did a lot of stuff. He was a genius, and he knew all kind of stuff. And I never really knew what he believed. So I didn't know. I was hoping to see him. And I saw him, and my mom was standing next to me, and she waved next to him, and she waved. And I had a couple of sisters, 3 sisters that had passed, and I saw my sisters, and I had a niece that had died when she was 2 years old. I think I was maybe 9, and I saw her, and told you I was married a couple of times. I saw my first father-in-law, and he was so happy to see me. He had the biggest smile, and he had been in the Army, and he loved the Army, and he had on this Army uniform, like the casual one where he played basketball. He was playing basketball, and had his hair, hair box cut, and he was saying, "I'm playing," and he's talking about the position he played. He said, "I'm playing jump center," and he's laughing. And then I went and I saw my second father-in-law, and he had committed suicide in 2014 or something. What did he? I mean, he had in 07 or something like that. I forgot what the exact year he committed. Yeah, no, in 2014 he had committed suicide, and I saw him, and his dad had passed, and he had a brother that had gotten killed in a car wreck when his brother was 5 years old, and all three of them were standing together. And the two younger ones, they looked like twins, and their dad looked like them too, but he was a little bit shorter than them, and they were happy to see me. And I saw my uncle, he's a pastor for church, and he had died, and he was laughing at me. I used to go and see him and make him laugh. We laughed together, and he was laughing, he was rolling, and he was laughing because at his funeral, his family had him in the coffin, and he had his feet sticking out, and I was looking at it like, I had never seen that before. The feet sticking out. He was laughing at me because I was thinking about that at his funeral. And, then I asked, could I see my house? Do I have a home here? Because I heard the people say they have homes. And so we were on that same street that we turned and started walking up. And it was my street. And there was a house, it was glass, but there was no front door. And it was like one story, but it went off a mountain. And it had like a grayish black slate roof on it. And it looked unimpressive at first until you went in. And I wondered how we got in because there was no door. And we went in, and it went down 3 stories, and it was glass. You can see across the mountain, there's another mountain, and it had a big waterfall and blue water coming out in a blue river. It was beautiful, and God knows that I love mountains and rivers and stuff like that. It was so beautiful, and it was and Jesus said that it's not finished yet, and after that I woke up and I was upset. But since that time, I was thinking, like, why was there no door? And I prayed about that a lot. Like, why in the world was there no door? I don't know why I kept thinking about that. And then this October, I was almost asleep again, and he said to me, because I am the door. There's no other, yes, there's no other way to get in. So, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. So, all right.
That's awesome.
But I also, during my NDEs, I became interested in stuff like quantum mechanics and physics and stuff like that. I was never interested in things like that. I don't understand it that much, but I'm interested in it.
Yeah, I don't understand it either, and I'm interested in it too.
Yes. Yes.
So do you feel like you have empath ability? Does that help you in your job, do you think? Or
yeah, yes, it does. It really does. Right now, I just work I'm a deputy sheriff, but I work in the juvenile courts. So I get to talk to the young people. Man, I talked to one today who was going to prison, and we had a really good talk, So they always thank me, so I think it's really helping. So
too bad we can't get to them before then, huh? Like maybe middle school years or something.
I wish I could, you know. I had a young guy, he had murdered his manager one time. He worked at a grocery store, and the manager helped him out. He didn't have anywhere to live, and the manager helped him out, and he robbed this guy and murdered him. And I know the kid's family, and when he got to jail, you know, you go to jail before you go to prison, and he was there, and he started reading his Bible, and he was at he had changed his life. You know, he was really remorseful about that. He's like, man, I messed up. That man helped me. He had kids, and he raised me like his own. He was, you know, like his own kid, and I did that. And so he asked me, you know, he said he just started reading his Bible, and right the day before he went to prison, he asked me, why didn't anybody tell me this before now? I said, I don't know, man. I wish I had seen you. I wish I could tell you. So that's why I'm here. That's why I want to get on here and tell people God loves you. I don't know who's watching this. You know, the Father is a loving Father. He loves you. He's not condemning you. I don't care what you've done. He loves you. You can come to him. He'll meet you there.
Yeah. You had beautiful experiences.
Thank you. Man, it took away my fear of death. You know, I have to not talk about it because, you know, not fear of death because people think that I'm suicidal. I'm not suicidal, or that I'm being selfish and I want to leave my kids. I don't want to, but if it happens, it happens. You know, I talked to you. I'd contacted you earlier because my brother had cancer, and he's a year younger than me. Man, that was horrible. He passed. But right around that time, I was having chest pains again, man. And I had to pray. I said, God, listen, you know, I don't mind going, but you know, my family is not going to be able to take both of us leaving. You know, if he leaves. Yeah. And so I feel a lot better now. But yeah, I lost my brother, and then that same night, my uncle was killed in a fire, and then later on, I had another tragedy. My nephew was murdered. So, yeah,
it's a good thing you have your faith.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
It might have been too much.
Yes.
If you hadn't had those experiences.
Yes. Yeah. So there's none of them that haven't been told anyway that the Lord is good and who He is. Jesus is real, and He is who He said He is. Yeah, I know. On a lot of I watch different NDE platforms. You know, when somebody says they saw Jesus, then they get attacked. Sometimes they're like, "You sure it was Jesus, or it was like a Jesus figure?" You know. But if they say they saw somebody else, you know, they say Buddha or something. They don't ask them like that.
Right.
Listen, when you see Jesus, you know who Jesus is.
Because they equate Jesus as judgment, and they don't want judgment.
Right. But He's not judgment. He said, I didn't come to the world to condemn the world, but that the world might be saved. Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. So you used to be a minister?
Yes, I got ordained, and my friend, it was my pastor. I still call him my pastor. He had a church, and I would and that's part of the reason God, you know, it was kind of like a loving rebuke, because I didn't even want to hear anything about God's love and stuff like that. I would go straight to the judgment part, you know, anytime that I had a chance, you know. Remember Ananias and Sapphira, they were struck down and God opened up the earth and swallowed them. And I was real adamant about that. I didn't, man, we'll hurry up and get over the old love crap, you know, but I thought there was a bunch of silly stuff that they sang about in songs and stuff. But a lot of those people I believe, that write those songs like Of that song, "Light of the World, Shine on Me, Love is the Answer." I believe somebody who wrote those songs have had like near-death experiences and stuff like that.
I have a book, I forget what it's called, but it has hymn in it and then a story in the next page of the person that wrote the hymn. And it has all kinds of hymns and all kinds of stories that goes with it. It's awesome. I found it like a yard sale or something. I love that book. I don't remember the name. It's been a while since I looked at it.
Right.
I need to pull it back out.
Yeah, and so me, I hate writing stuff, but he told me to write a book. So I wrote it. It's really thin. And
some people, that's the kind they want. They don't want something.
Yes. I can't write. I mean, I can't read a great big thick book. It'd take me years.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't attempt it either.
I have a brother-in-law. He's a genius, and he reads like a book every night.
I wish I could.
I wish I could too, but I can't. No.
Right.
No,
so did you write it?
Yeah, I wrote it.
Oh, that's right. I got the name of it down here.
I wrote it. It's on Amazon. I don't like to mention it much because people say I'm pushing a book, but I don't want to. I don't make any money off of it. I think you make like 42 cents a book, and then the taxes is like 53 cents. I lose like 11 cents every time I buy one.
Yeah. Like I think I paid like $3,000 to my editor to edit my book, and I doubt if I made 300.
Right.
I'm so proud of it. I'll never regret it. Okay, now name your book. Crystal Stairway to Heaven.
Yes.
My Journey to Heaven. Is that right?
Yes. Well, it's Crystal Stairway to Heaven. Is by Victor Hicks. I don't think it's about. It's a.
Oh, okay. I must have written down something at the bottom.
Yeah.
Okay, so Crystal Stairway to Heaven.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So.
Well, I appreciate your time.
All right. Well,
and I'm curious now, what age did you become a minister?
It was in 2013. So what year is this?
This is 2022.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
9 years ago.
So it didn't last long, or?
Well, I figure now that I'm a minister all the time.
That's the way I feel too. It's like I am church. I'll take it with you where I go.
I'm church going somewhere to happen, but I'm not. God is not religious, and I don't want to be religious. God is not religious. That's stuff men made up, and it has people all condemned and beat down and guilty and sick and stressed out. But God's not religious. He loves you. It's simple as that. You love your children and your family, but you didn't really make them. But God actually made you. So how much more does he love you than you love them? That's what he was trying to tell Jonah. Now I'm start preaching, but that's what he was trying to let Jonah know. He wanted Jonah to go to speak to the Ninevites so they could repent. And Jonah didn't want them to repent. He wanted God to kill them. They had been killing Jonah's people. They were really ruthless people. But Jonah knew. He said, I know that you are merciful and you will forgive them. So I'm going the other way. And Jonah had mercy later in the story on a tree that a worm ate. He had a little tree that was giving him shade. And a worm ate it, and he was crying over that tree. And God told him, hey, you were crying over this little tree. How much more should I care about 100,000 people that I made and their animals too? I care about them, and he does. He cares about us.
Yeah, he certainly explained that to you, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I love it. You have beautiful, beautiful experiences. And I imagine all the people feeling jealous right now. You got to see all your family this past.
Oh my goodness, that was great. That was great.
Now, was the boy that died when he was 5, was he still small?
No, he was grown with his dad and his brother.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I've heard stories. I don't know if this is true or not, that you can like decide, or ask the Lord, to stay a child and be raised by them later or something like that. I don't know. But he looked like he was grown. He looked just like his brother. Yeah, I was a little like twins, but and I knew exactly who he was. I had only heard about him maybe once, and their mom is still alive. She's like 98, maybe 98, 99. And man, she is the sweetest woman I think I ever met in my life. And
Does she know you saw him?
No, I haven't been able to talk to her, but I told my ex-wife,
Okay.
So I don't know if she was able to tell her or not, but I did.
I bet she'd love to hear that.
Yes. I if I ever do see her, I am gonna tell her.
I don't have much time. She's 98.
You're right. Hey, she looks strong,
All right. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.